Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rawat. Up ahead, we'll get you all the latest on the UP elections as the fourth phase of polling is underway. We'll be going across to our reporters. Alok joins us from Lakhimpur. Saurabh joins us from Raebareli. And Sanket will get us all that's happening in Lucknow. So do stay tuned for our coverage. We'll also get you all the latest on the Ukraine crisis. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking. Voting for 59 assembly constituencies in 9 districts of UP is taking place in the fourth phase of polls, a decisive phase that covers Lucknow, Lakhimpur and Raebareli. Big win for Stalin's DMK in local body elections in Tamil Nadu. DMK gains in AIADMK strongholds. The AIADMK calls it an artificial victory by the ruling party. Voting is underway for 59 assembly constituencies spread across 9 districts of UP. The high decibel campaigning for this phase ended on Monday as sparring among political rivals intensified during the last-minute canvassing. The fourth phase of polling will decide the fate of 624 candidates in 59 assembly segments. Let's go across to our reporters and let's go across to Saurabh first, who joins us from Raebareli. And Saurabh, in Raebareli, you have Aditi Singh, who used to be in the Congress, now contesting from the BJP.
Absolutely, Gargi. Raebareli used to be fort of Congress. Still, Sonia Gandhi, President of Congress, is Member of Parliament from Raebareli. But now, in last election in 2017, BJP successfully breached the fort of Congress, for that matter. But that time, Aditi Singh was with Congress. She contested from Raebareli Sadar seat and won with a huge margin. She's daughter of Akhilesh Singh, old senior leader of Raebareli. He passed his legacy to Aditi Singh. But later, Aditi Singh joins hands with BJP, and now she is contesting from BJP. Interestingly, Priyanka Gandhi campaigned here, and Priyanka Gandhi held almost 8 to 9 small rallies in Raebareli, and today she is campaigning in Amethi. She understands the value of Raebareli, and yesterday Sonia Gandhi also appealed voters of Raebareli to vote for Congress, and Sonia also said that if you vote for BJP, then BJP, as she said that BJP is the party which divides the people of the country. Aditi Singh is saying that Congress is vindictive. Priyanka Gandhi says that ladki hoon, lad sakti hoon, but Congress cut her husband's ticket. Angad Singh used to be MLA from Nawab Malik of Punjab, and she's saying that just because of me, Congress denied Angad a ticket. So it's a very interesting election in Raebareli. In last assembly elections, Gargi, out of 6 seats, BJP had won 3 seats, 2 seats to Congress and 1 seat to Samajwadi Party. But later, 2 MLAs, both MLAs of Congress has joined, they have joined BJP, Rakesh Singh from Harshanpur and Aditi Singh from Raebareli Sadar. So it's very important, crucial elections. Raebareli used to be the fort of Congress, and Congress is trying really hard to regain its lost ground, and where BJP is trying to hold all its seats in Raebareli. So we'll come to know on 10th, but indeed Raebareli is going to get very interesting with the day progresses.
All right, well, let's just listen in to what Aditi Singh had to tell you a short while ago.
हर बार आप अखिलेश जी के साथ वोट डालने आती थी अपने पिता के साथ, इस बार आप अकेले आई हैं, कैसा महसूस कर रही हैं?
अकेले तो नहीं, मैं बहुत सारे अपने परिवार के सदस्यों साथ आई हूँ, बट ऑफ कोर्स इट्स वेरी इमोशनल और बहुत ही अलग, मतलब हमेशा पापा साथ आई हूँ, तो पहली बार उनके बिना आई हूँ एक्चुअली लोकसभा के बाद।
इस बार विधानसभा चुनाव में समाजवादी पार्टी के आरपी यादव आपके सामने हैं, कांग्रेस ने भी अपने कैंडिडेट दिया है, प्रियंका ने भी कैंपेन किया है, कितना कॉन्फिडेंट हैं आप?
मैं बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ, बस लास्ट मिनट की जो कैंपेनिंग होती है उससे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, स्पेशली फॉर प्रियंका गांधी। उन पूरे 5 साल जब आप आएंगे अपनी जनता के बीच में, तभी आपको वोट मांगने का हक है।
आखिरी सवाल मैम, हम लोग नवा शहर भी गए, हमने अंगद जी से बात की, आपके हस्बैंड से, उन्होंने बोला कि कांग्रेस ने बड़ा छोटा दिल दिखाया है, और वो कह रहे थे कि क्योंकि आप बीजेपी चली गई इसलिए उनका टिकट काट दिया। उस पर आपको क्या कहना है?
मेरा उस पर यही कहना है कि कांग्रेस ऐसी पार्टी है जो महिलाओं को आगे बढ़ते हुए देख ही नहीं सकती। महिलाओं की अपनी सोच और विचारधारा हो सकती है, ये तो उनसे बर्दाश्त ही नहीं होता, क्योंकि उन्होंने तो पूरा हर संभव प्रयास करा है भारतवर्ष को, देश को दबा के रखने का, कुचल के रखने का, और जब ये चीज़ें उनसे नहीं हो पाई, उनको समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा कैसे एक लड़की की, एक महिला की अपनी विचारधारा हो सकती है और वो अपने डायरेक्शन में जा रही हैं। जब वो चीज़ें नहीं समझ पाए, उन्होंने मेरे हस्बैंड पे प्रेशर बनाया कि आप इनके खिलाफ बोलिए। उन्होंने जब रिफ्यूज़ किया कि मैं अपनी वाइफ के खिलाफ नहीं बोलूँगा, उन्होंने उनकी टिकट काट दी।
चुनावी मैदान में अदिति सिंह हैं, उनके पिता अखिलेश सिंह यहाँ से कई बार विधायक रहे हैं। यही वजह है कि अदिति सिंह को टिकट मिला है। इस बार उनकी परीक्षा है क्योंकि वो अपने पिता के बिना चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं। उनके पिता का देहांत हो गया है, तो फिलहाल 10 तारीख को पता चलेगा यहाँ पर क्या होता है।
Well, let's now go across to Alok, who joins us from Lakhimpur. And Alok, Lakhimpur has been in the news after the minister's son ran over farmers, and he's been accused in the murder of the farmers, in which 4 farmers, including a journalist, were also killed. So that's really been one of the issues being raised there. Tell us what's happening at the polling booth you're at.
Well, yes, I'll start by talking about that. So I am at the polling booth in Banvirpur, which is the village of MOS home Ajay Mishra. I'll ask Rajesh to give you a few shots of the vote. A lot of my colleagues from different channels are also here, and they're all covering the vote here because this is an important polling station. Ajay Mishra's son, in fact, is the main accused in the murder of the 4 farmers and the journalists that took place in October. I spent at least a week in these parts at that point of time, and there was a huge amount of tension, political and otherwise, when those incidents took place. Ashish Mishra was jailed, but do remember that he was only jailed after the Supreme Court's intervention. He's made bail. Gargi, his son, the high-profile murder accused of a high-profile minister, has made bail just about a week or 2 weeks before this all-important vote in Lakhimpur. And I think the question to ask is whether this bail to Ashish Mishra and the general outrage and anger at the time when this incident took place will translate into losses for the BJP. Why do I say that? I say that because the BJP has all 8 Vidhan Sabhas in Lakhimpur Gargi. All 8 Vidhan Sabhas, including the Palia Vidhan Sabha where I am right now, and the Nighasan Vidhan Sabha, or it could be one of those. Both of them, where this incident or the repercussions of the incident were felt the most, both of them are with the BJP. Now, this time around, the Samajwadi Party has given tickets to some strong contenders, and at the same time, they are also hoping that the anger among farmers, or at least a percentage of the population, and the community and caste vote will combine together to help them. Now, whether that happens or not, of course, remains to be seen. But why are we here? We are here because we are waiting for Ajay Mishra to come and cast his vote. We don't know if he's the only one who will come or if his son, Ashish, who's not been in the public eye ever since he got bail, whether both of them will come to cast their vote. In the 2017 elections, Gargi, Ajay Mishra played a pivotal role in the BJP's campaign here. Now, he is a strong man. He is somebody who's known to have that image. And at the same time, he is somebody who the party also identified as a Brahmin face. And that is why he was made the MOS home in the union cabinet ahead of the UP elections. Now, whether this time around, he's been able to carry his heft into the political arena is something that is a question, because his campaign has been very, very restricted and limited during this assembly elections. I remember that the day after his son made bail, and he actually, the Allahabad High Court gave out that order the next day. Ajay Mishra was in the campaign. He was going across holding these small Jan Sabhas in the area. But he's not really been in the campaign for the past 6 to 7 months because of what happened here. So one waits to see how the situation pans out on the ground in Lakhimpur and in Banvirpur, his village, where I am right now.
All right, Alok, thanks so much for joining us. With that, well, one of the major politicians who've cast their vote early this morning has been BSP chief Mayawati. Here's what she had told reporters after emerging from casting her vote.
उत्तर प्रदेश में इस विधानसभा चुनाव में अभी तो 3 चरणों के वोट पड़ चुके, चौथे का आज पड़ रहा है, तो बीएसपी को अकेले दलितों का ही नहीं, मुसलमानों का ही नहीं, बल्कि अति पिछड़े वर्गों का भी और अपर कास्ट समाज का भी, अर्थात सर्व समाज का वोट बहुजन समाज पार्टी को मिल रहा है। ये भी मैं उनको बताना चाहती हूँ।
All right, a confident Mayawati there after casting her vote, saying that BSP will dominate this particular phase of elections. 59 assembly constituencies spread in 9 districts of UP are polling in this phase of elections. Well, let's go across to Sanket now, who joins us from Lucknow. And Sanket, tell us about some of the big players there.
Yes, but we'll begin. Good morning, Gargi. We'll begin with what usually is said about Lucknow. मुस्कुराइए आप लखनऊ में हैं. Who is going to मुस्कुराओ? As far as elections in Lucknow is concerned, one really doesn't know. But obviously, all political leaders are brimming with confidence. For instance, Mayawati, who has literally been written off in this contest by the BJP, by the Samajwadi Party. Some sort of recognition by Amit Shah in one television channel interview where they're saying that on the ground the BSP is doing well, giving Mayawati the confidence. But yeah, this is an important contest. 9 assembly constituencies in Lucknow, where I am, where 8 went to the BJP and 1 stayed with the Samajwadi Party in 2017. This was at the peak of the BJP wave, and that election 2017 was a completely Modi election. This time around, Gargi, I want to tell you, we are outside a polling station in near Butler Palace, and for some reasons we've not been allowed very close to that polling station. But I can tell you that the voting process is relatively slow. You will see that some women, and Sachin Gupta is going to show you that there are some women in some pockets in Lucknow that is Muslim dominated, who are leaving to the polling station to cast their vote. You can see that they have vote dalne ja rahi hai na. See, you can see that women are leaving early in the morning to cast their vote. So the voting, as we have observed in all assembly segments, in all the phases so far, has been lower than 2017. Now, what does this mean? One conclusion that can be made over here is that the sort of wave and anticipation that was being spoken about in 2017, that one cannot see on the ground. Yes, anger is palpable against the incumbents. Will that anger translate into votes? That is very, very significant, because when voting percentage is low, there are various ways to read it. Number one, no anger against the incumbent. Number two, a lot of anger, so much so that people are not even coming to the polling booth. And number three, who does it necessarily benefit? If I'm angry and I'm not going to vote, then it does not affect the person I'm angry with, because I have not turned up. So many, many different ways to analyze the slightly low voter turnout in this assembly election so far. Will the Lucknow story or the fourth phase story of 59 seats be any different? One will have to see. As of this moment, polling has got off to a slow start, but slightly cold, nip in the air. So as the sun shines, and in this slightly lazy city compared to Delhi, people will wake up and then slowly go to the polling station. So we'll have to very interestingly see how much is the polling
how
percentage.
Key is this particular phase?
Contest, very quickly,
because we know that the polling began from Western UP, and that's where a lot of farmer anger was there against the BJP, and that's where Samajwadi Party and RLD were hoping that they'd get a major support over there. But now it's moving to Central UP, and then it'll move on eastward. So in that sense, how significant is this particular phase of elections? And of these 59 seats last time, as you've all pointed out, the BJP won 51.
That's true. So it's very significant for the Samajwadi Party and the BSP. See, Western UP was a clean sweep for the BJP last time around. So that was a contest where the Samajwadi Party needed alliances, because they're not very strong. West UP is not the Samajwadi Party's strong footing. The BSP to some extent, but not the SP. In that place, yes, it was a different sort of a challenge for the BJP to retain what it had achieved in West UP. How that contest has gone, it is basically subject to an individual's assessment. But now, you very interestingly asked me this question, now the phases from here on, from 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, you are slowly moving towards the eastern part of UP, and the dynamics are completely different. It's almost like these are two different states. As you move from central to eastern, suddenly the population of the Brahmins increase, right? The Brahmin factor, which way will the Brahmin go? Will they stay with they're about 12 to 13%. Will they go with the BJP, or has the BSP been successful? I'm still continuing to say, let us not make the mistake of writing off the BSP. It does not work like that. They always manage about 20 to 22% vote share. And if they can manage to add a little bit more, they're in the game. And this time around, they're wooing the Brahmins to vote for them. So if they manage a vote share of 28-29%, if the other parties cannot, the last time one party got 29% vote share, the Samajwadi Party got around 220 seats. The BSP managed 206 with 30.1% vote share. The BJP last time got 39% plus of the vote share. So how much will that 39% drop? That drop is going to be very, very significant. So one has to see and wait and analyze how these phases are going to work out. Which way will the Brahmins go? Can the BJP retain them? Various areas where you've got Muslim domination, which way will they go? Is that going to be a clean drift towards the Samajwadi Party? Another important factor is the division last time around in the Dalit vote among the Jatavs and the non-Jatavs. Will they align with the BSP, or will that split continue to help the BJP? I think these are all important factors of the phases from here on. The OBCs, a huge experiment done by the BJP since June 2021 to showcase that, ab ki baar OBC ki sarkar. Then you've got Akhilesh Yadav also getting in a lot of OBC leaders in Swami Prasad Maurya and others so as to project that, I'm not a Yadav only party. So caste dynamics are going to be key from here on in the next few phases.
News from Manipur now, where the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday held a massive rally and lauded the Biren Singh government on providing 3 lakh households with tap water. But despite fast tracking of pipe water by the BJP regime, many areas even in state capital Imphal have an acute water crisis. Governments have come and gone, but tap water is still a distant dream. Ratnadeep Chaudhary reports.
डबल इंजन की सरकार ने हर घर जल ये अभियान चलाया। आज भाजपा सरकार बनने के बाद मणिपुर के करीब 3 लाख घरों में पाइप से पानी पहुंचा है।
PM Modi is touting the BJP's big achievements in providing tap water to Manipur's households as he pitched for the double-engine Sarkar at his first poll rally in Manipur. Under Jal Jeevan Mission, in 3 years, over 3 lakh households, that's about 55% households in Manipur, have been provided with a tap water supply. Centre has released rupees 120 crores, but Biren Singh's government had promised to 100% coverage of drinking water by 2022. But as NDTV found out, the ground reality is very different. Even right in the heart of state capital Imphal, at Dimdiam Long in Imphal, just adjacent to the posh colony of Sanjay Thong, where senior bureaucrats and police officials live, 50 years old Amumai Golmai, a primary teacher, has to travel 7 kilometers daily to get clean water. Golmai says he was forced to buy a vehicle to fetch water for his own domestic needs.
ꯑꯩꯅ ꯏꯁꯤꯡꯒꯤꯗꯃꯛꯇ ꯕꯤꯖꯤꯅꯦꯁ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯆꯠꯆꯕꯗꯤ ꯅꯠꯆꯗꯦ ꯏꯁꯥꯒꯤ ꯌꯨꯝꯒꯤ ꯑꯋꯥꯠꯄꯗꯨ ꯃꯦꯟꯇꯦꯅꯦꯟꯁ ꯇꯧꯅꯤꯡꯉꯥꯏꯗꯃꯛꯇ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯒꯥꯔꯤꯁꯤ ꯂꯧꯔꯒ ꯏꯁꯥꯒꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯃꯛꯁꯨ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯁꯤꯡ ꯂꯧꯕ ꯆꯠꯅꯤꯡꯉꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯇꯧꯔꯒ ꯂꯩꯖꯕꯅꯤ.
Around 1 year back, the pipe is all fitting at all, na? So I hope it will be getting soon.
But for now?
So far we don't get the facilities of that.
This area falls under Wankham constituency, where there is an intense multi-corner fight between the BJP, NPP, JDU and the Congress candidates.
BJP alone is telling lies. He's not, Modi ji is not God. They have ruled here only 5 years. For the last more than 15 years, we are created all the infrastructure.
Clearly, elections have come and gone, but the promise of drinking water, a basic need, still remains unfulfilled for many. In Guwahati, Ratnadeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Some COVID news now. The Bombay High Court has asked the Maharashtra government to withdraw the ban on unvaccinated and allow them to travel in the Mumbai local trains as COVID situation has improved. Hearing two PILs, the Chief Justice said, let there be a new beginning. Maharashtra government will decide on this issue on the 25th. Indians stranded in Ukraine were brought back by an Air India flight last night. NDTV's Parimal spoke with some of the relief students who were on that flight.
आने की जो वजह रही वो जो भारत सरकार की अपील है,
हाँ, एम्बेसी ने एडवाइजरी भेजी सब यूक्रेन से सभी स्टूडेंट को कि अब आ जाओ इंडिया।
और पढ़ाई को लेकर क्या कहेंगे? ऑनलाइन
अभी ऑनलाइन कर दिया है।
ऑनलाइन हो गया?
हाँ।
मतलब ये आप लोग की चिंता थी ना कि ऑनलाइन?
हाँ, वही टेम्पररी हो चुका है। टेम्पररी 1 मंथ के लिए टेम्पररी ऑनलाइन हो गया।
लोग जहाँ पर रह रहे थे तो वहाँ पर भी तनाव की स्थिति थी?
नहीं, अभी तो वहाँ पे तो सब नॉर्मल है, पर बॉर्डर पे ज़्यादा तनाव की स्थिति है और कभी भी वो इन्वेजन करे तो क्यू पे हमला हो सकता है, फिर हम वापस नहीं आ सकते यहाँ पे, इसलिए हम आ गए इसलिए जल्दी।
एक्चुअली जो बच्चे हैं वहाँ पे उनको कोई देखने वाला नहीं है, उनके पेरेंट्स जो यहाँ बैठे हैं वही देखते हैं उनको, तो उनको जब ऐसी खबरें सुनाई देती है तो वो पैनिक होते हैं।
अभी कुछ पास्ट वीक तक तो सिचुएशन अंडर कंट्रोल था, सिटी में भी सब पीसफुल है, बट अब विद इन पास्ट वीक एम्बेसी से हमें 16, 17, 18, 20, 22 तक अब नोटिस फटाफट आए हैं, इमीडिएट नोटिस आए टू लीव द कंट्री एंड टू गो बैक टू देयर होमलैंड्स। जो जैसे अरेबिक कंट्री से हम इंडियंस हैं, हमें बोला गया टू लीव द कंट्री एंड उस ऊपर से जो डोनेट्स्क और लुगान्स्क हैं इनको अब प्रेसिडेंट पुतिन ने इंडिपेंडेंट स्टेट कर दिया है, तो उस वजह से अब जो सिचुएशन है वो और ज़्यादा टेंस।
आप कहाँ पर रहे हैं?
मैं खारकिव में रहता हूँ। खारकिव इज़ एक्चुअली अ फ्यू किलोमीटर्स अवे फ्रॉम द रशियन बॉर्डर। ट्रूप्स वहाँ पे हैं, पहले तो सब पीसफुल था, बट अब क्योंकि इन्वेजन हो चुका है, एवरीवन इज एडवाइज टू लीव द कंट्री। यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ने हमें बोल दिया कि हाँ जी यू शुड गो बैक टू बी ऑन द सेफर साइड। हाँ जी।
कुछ ऐसे हालात आपको सामने में दिखे जो लग रहे हो कि बेकाबू हैं?
अभी तक सिटी के अंदर पीसफुल था, पर डॉनबास में शेलिंग हुए हैं, सिविल शूटिंग्स हुई हैं, तो इसलिए स्टूडेंट्स को, हर एक स्टूडेंट को एडवाइस कर दिया गया कि दे शुड लीव द कंट्री। तो इसलिए हमने भी उसी टाइम एयर इंडिया करा के मैंने एट द स्पॉट में वापस आ गया।
तो एयर इंडिया को लेके क्या कहना चाहिए?
वेल, I'm extremely grateful for this evacuation process that has been started for the students.
परिवार सब डरा हुआ था कि तुम यहाँ पे आ जाओ, यहाँ पे सेफ हो, वहाँ पे सेफ नहीं हो, क्योंकि उनको भी नहीं पता, क्या पता कब वॉर हो जाए, कब अटैक हो जाए। एक्चुअली 2014 में अटैक हुआ था, वो हमारी जस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी के विद इन 1 किलोमीटर बॉम्ब अटैक हुआ था। सो दे आर इन फियर लाइक इट कैन ऑल्सो हैपन नाउ ऑल्सो।
अब तो जो टिकट्स हो रही है वो बहुत ज़्यादा महंगी हो रही है।
कितनी महंगी? मतलब दोस्त से बातचीत हो रही है?
जैसे मेरे दोस्तों से बात हुई तो बोल रहे हैं कि 1-1 लाख की हो जा रही टिकट। हाँ, आउट ऑफ द कॉस्ट हो गया, और जो नहीं है उन लोग का कैसे क्या हो रहा है नहीं समझ में आ रहा है। सर, पहले तो ये बोल सकते हैं कि हाँ फैमिली बहुत पैनिक कर रही थी, हम लोग को ऐसा था कि नहीं कुछ नहीं हुआ,
वहाँ पे कुछ नहीं हो रहा,
वहाँ
सामने में कुछ नहीं हो रहा,
हम लोग के सामने कुछ नहीं हो रहा।
किस जगह की बात है
ये कीव जो मेन कैपिटल है वहाँ का, मतलब यूक्रेन का कैपिटल कीव में, हम लोग वहीं पे थे, तो वहाँ पे ऐसा लग रहा था ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा है क्या, बट जैसे जैसे न्यूज़ बढ़ती गई तो हम लोग को ऐसा लगा। और फिर वहाँ पे जो ज़ेलेंस्की है उसके तरफ से भी न्यूज़ आते थे कि कोई ऐसी पैनिक सिचुएशन नहीं है, हम लोग करेंगे जो
कि भारत सरकार ने कहा, तो उसके बाद परिवार का भी दबाव बना। और
बहुत ज़्यादा उनका तो भारत सरकार से पहले जो मेन सरकार हुई है तो उनका था कि आ जाओ, जो भी है जैसे भी होता है, जैसे भी बनता है, टिकट जैसे भी मिल रही है आ जाओ, मत वेट करो गवर्नमेंट की, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट का कोई हिसाब किताब नहीं था कि कब कैसे क्या। और 45,000 की टिकट मेरी आई, बट कोई नहीं।
कितने घंटे लगे जो घूम फिर के आए हैं कतर होते हुए?
टोटल 24 आवर्स।
वहाँ कुछ पता ही नहीं चल रहा है कि क्या हो रहा। अपन को तो जब हम पेरेंट्स से बात करते थे तभी हमको पता चला कि ऐसे वहाँ कंडीशन है, वहाँ सब नॉर्मली सब चल रहा है, वहाँ कुछ ऐसा।
आप दोनों छत्तीसगढ़ के ही रहने वाले?
हाँ जी हाँ।
इंदिरा गांधी इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट पे इसलिए है कि सुबह की फ्लाइट है?
हाँ जी, यहाँ से रायपुर के लिए फ्लाइट है।
अच्छा, पढ़ाई को लेके एक चिंता आप लोगों की तरफ से आ रही थी, वहाँ पे ऑफलाइन मोड हो गया होगा?
हाँ, ऑफलाइन है, और उसके लिए अपन ने बात भी किया था कि ऑनलाइन करवा दीजिए ताकि अपन घर चले जाए और जब नॉर्मल हो जाए सिचुएशन तो फिर आ जाए। उसके बाद शायद अपन एम्बेसी ने बात किया उसके लिए और वो ऑनलाइन अभी करवा रहे हैं।
मतलब अभी भी मन में चिंता है कि ऑनलाइन होगा या नहीं होगा?
हाँ, अभी भी कंफ्यूजन में है, बट वो बोले हैं एम्बेसी वाले कि वो बात करेंगे इसके लिए और ऑनलाइन वो करवाएंगे जब तक सिचुएशन नॉर्मल नहीं हो जाए।
आम दिनों में जब जाती थी आप, टिकट कितने का पड़ता था, अभी कितने का?
32 तक का आ जाता था 1000।
और
अभी अपन 49 तक में आए हैं।
Joining us with that, and do stay on for more news from Karnataka. Now, the Bengaluru police on Tuesday arrested a Kannada film industry actor and human rights activist Chetan Kumar for tweeting against a sitting High Court judge, Krishna Dixit, who's hearing the hijab ban petitions. The actor retweeted a tweet which was written against the judge for granting anticipatory bail for a rape accused in June 2020, nearly 2 years ago. Chetan had mentioned that the same judge was listening to the hijab case as well, determining whether hijabs are acceptable or not in government schools. And the comments when hearing the rape case, the judge had made some observations that were considered to be in bad taste. The actor's wife, Megha, said that she wasn't even aware of the arrest and that her husband was just whisked away.
Police family ge inform ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. He opened the door and they took him. ನಾನು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೆ, ನನ್ನ ರೂಮ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳೋಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ.
All right, let's go back to Shrija for more. So Shrija, an actor there arrested for a tweet or retweeting a tweet against a High Court judge.
Well, in fact, Chetan Kumar is a well-known actor here in Kannada film industry and also a very well-known human rights activist. So it was just about a few days ago, this was on 16th of February, where he had retweeted his old tweet. This was in the year 2020, where he did, of course, mention saying that the judge, which is Justice Dixit, while hearing a particular rape case, he had made a comment. This is a observation which was clearly in bad taste, and he had put that up on Twitter nearly 2 years ago. And the actor did, of course, tweet that particular tweet, and he did go on to say that this is the very judge who's hearing the hijab case, the ban on hijab, which should not be allowed in the government schools, and clearly indicating the fact that the judge should not be hearing this particular case. So that was his question as far as the actor Chetan is concerned. And over the past few days also we have been seeing that he's been actively taking part in certain human rights protests. So he has clearly been the talk of discussion over the past few weeks. But what we do understand as far as the latest case is concerned, a suo motu cognizance was initiated by Bengaluru police. Case has also been registered against him. This is for inciting a class or a community to commit an offence. And his wife, Megha, also goes on to say that the family members were not informed of this particular arrest. They were not at home at that point in time. And also she goes on to say that she was not really aware about the whereabouts of her husband. What we do know from the police is that he will be produced today, but what time he would be produced, now that is still unclear at the moment. But what we know right now here is a case against him has been filed for tweeting against the High Court sitting judge.
All right, and that seems like a very strict action taken against the actor for a tweet. Thanks so much, Shrija, for joining us with those details. Well, we'll slip into a short break now and be back with all the top news. Don't go anywhere. Breaking news coming in from Mumbai, and Maharashtra Minister and senior Nationalist Congress Party leader Nawab Malik is being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate, allegedly in connection with a money laundering case. Let's go across to Sohit for more. Sohit, what are the details?
Well, what we know as of now, Gargi, is that around 6 a.m. in the morning, the officials reached at the residence of NCP leader as well as cabinet minister Nawab Malik. He was questioned in his house around an hour, and after that he was taken to the ED office, where he is currently being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. And as of now, what we know is that this is in connection with a money laundering case. The ED officials have been continuously investigating several of these things, and that is the reason that in the morning they reached at his residence. Nawab, if you know, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut also did a press conference where he had continuously been saying that there are being pressure made by the central agencies over the NBA government as well as its leader. So while the NBA will continue to say that this is being done to pressurize the NBA government in Maharashtra, ED sources say that this is in connection with a money laundering case, which is being linked to a few of the underworld people. And that is the reason that he is, as of now, being interrogated and questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. We might expect Sanjay Raut to speak in some time. Last week, he did a press conference and said that there are pressures being made on him as well as several of his party members to quit the party or to, ensure that government does not stay for 5 years, or there will be central agencies who will be taking action against them. So he did a press conference. The BJP, the Maharashtra state BJP president, Chandrakant Patil, has been continuously saying that by 10th of March, the BJP will govern the Maharashtra state. So that Sanjay Raut is asking.
All right. Soed, they're giving us details of how Maharashtra Minister Nawab Malik is being questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. And this comes after the Maharashtra government and various leaders from the parties in the government have been talking about pressure being brought on them through various agencies like the ED and CBI. Well, let's move on now to news from Uttar Pradesh, and it's the fourth phase of polling that's underway. Voting is on for 59 assembly constituencies across 9 districts. Let's go across now to Sanket, who joins us from Lucknow. And Sanket, I hope the voting has picked up from the last time we spoke to you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely, Gargi. In fact, look at this polling station. Sachin Gupta is going to show you. Long lines. This is a VIP polling booth where Mayawati, Satish Chand Mishra and close aide of Mayawati, Mr. Brijesh Pathak, who is now a minister in the Yogi Adityanath government, is presently inside to cast his vote. This is known as the Lucknow Montessori. He is going to come out. As you can see, there is a movement which basically means that the minister is on his way out. Brisk voting taking place as of this moment. However, the numbers, the provisional numbers will only be out in just a short moment. You turn the camera this time around and you will see that even here, you've got people queuing up, lining up. So voting has picked up. As the sun shines, the voting has also picked up. But where will the sun politically shine is the big question. The BJP is very hopeful that these few phases are going to be very crucial. Lots of factors. The amount of time spent in selecting candidates, involving yourself with the OBCs that the BJP as well as the Samajwadi Party did, both are hopeful that this will reap good dividends for them. The Bahujan Samaj Party, very interestingly, also hopes that the Brahmins, which now are going to play a very, very significant part in phase 4, 5, 6 and 7, are going to join hands, and the split that happened between the Jatavs and the non-Jatavs in 2017, which robbed Mayawati of her core vote bank, are going to come back to the BSP. I repeat over and over again, to write off the BSP completely in these elections is going to be very, very wrong. They have always retained a 20% plus vote share, and they're still hopeful the same is going to happen even now. But how much will the Samajwadi Party gain from here, and how much can the BJP gain from here? Remember, all citadels are going to vote, Ayodhya, and then eventually you will have Gorakhpur, Varanasi. So it will be very interesting to see whether that is going to happen or not. Now we've got Brijesh Pathak right here. Pathak ji, दो मिनट, एक सेकंड, पाठक जी 2 मिनट, संकेत उपाध्याय NDTV से 2 मिनट, हाँ, अच्छा बाहर चल के बात करते हैं. So there is Mr. Brijesh Pathak. He is a minister in the Yogi Adityanath government who's just exercised his. वोट दे दिया आपने? हाँ, वोट दे दिया. हो गया. और आपकी वाइफ ने भी? हाँ, सबने, पूरे परिवार ने, बच्चों ने भी डाला. अच्छा. एक सेकंड वहाँ तक चल 10 कदम और. चलो. As Gargi, as chaotic as the UP elections can be, but that's the fun of these elections. That is how they always happen. Anyway, there is a lot of expectations that the BJP has. Mr. Pathak was in front. Yeah, it'll happen. Don't worry. Just one moment. Gargi, this is the Lucknow Central seat. He is the MLA. हाँ, ब्रजेश जी।
पूरे परिवार ने मतदान कर दिया। आज मतदान का दिन है। आप सब लोग लगा लो, आराम से लगा लो, आराम, कोई जल्दी नहीं, आराम से लगा, रास्ता दे दो, नहीं तो लोग कहेंगे मतदान बाद में। अरे सर आ जाओ, न भाभी बुला लो, आराम से लगा लो।
मतदान कर दिया है, क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
पूरे परिवार ने मतदान कर दिया, क्या बोलेंगे? आज हमने सपरिवार मतदान किया है और जिस ढंग से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के समर्थन में उत्साह दिख रहा है, मैं कह सकता हूं प्रचंड बहुमत के साथ बीजेपी की सरकार बनेगी और पिछली बार से भी अधिक सीटें हम लोग जीतने वाले हैं। मायावती जी कहती हैं कि ध्रुवीकरण हो रहा है, ब्राह्मण सभी लोग जो है अपना अपना दावा करते हैं और ये लोकतंत्र में इस प्रकार की बातें लोग करते रहते हैं, लेकिन जनता का आशीर्वाद बीजेपी को मिल रहा है। मैंने जो अंदर दृश्य देखा है उसमें बटन कह रही है कि कमल आ रहा है।
सर कल एक फोटो वायरल हो रही है,
उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है, वो
नहीं तो आखिर यही समय क्यों चुना उन्होंने?
वो तो असल उनका विषय है, मेरा विषय ये है कि जनता का आशीर्वाद मुझे प्राप्त है।
एक दिन पहले ही फोटो क्यों?
जैसे जनता का देखिए, इस समय सब्जेक्ट ये है कि जनता का आशीर्वाद मुझे मिला हुआ है और आप देखेंगे अपार जन समर्थन प्रचंड बहुमत के साथ बीजेपी आ रही है।
महेंद्र जोशी की फोटो, उसका कोई मतलब नहीं। और चौथे चरण में क्या देख रहे हैं सर?
देखिए, चौथे चरण में पिछली बार से भी अधिक हम सीटें जीतेंगे और इतनी बड़ी संख्या में मतलब बीजेपी के पक्ष में लहर चल रही है, मैं कह सकता हूं कि अपार जन समर्थन के साथ हम लोग सरकार बनाने जा रहे हैं।
ठीक है, चले। ब्रजेश पाठक जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। मेरा आपसे सबसे पहला सवाल है, एक सेकंड, मेरा सबसे पहला सवाल आपसे ये है ब्रजेश जी कि 3 चरण हो चुके हैं, आज चौथा है, आपको क्या लगता है कि अभी, क्योंकि सपा का विश्लेषण ये है कि पश्चिम से जो चला है वो पूरब तक चला।
अगर आप पूछो किसी निर्दलीय प्रत्याशी से जिसको 500 वोट भी मिलने वाले हैं, वो भी यही कहेगा कि समीकरण उसके पक्ष में है। मेरा सीधा सीधा कहना है कि जनता देखती है कि किसने क्या काम किया है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने यूपी में लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को मेंटेन किया है और यहाँ पर सर्व समाज के लोगों का आशीर्वाद बीजेपी को मिल रहा है। उत्साह में जो देख रहा हूँ, सड़कों पर निकल करके लोग आ रहे हैं मतदान केंद्र तक और बड़ी संख्या में, मतलब जो हमारी उम्मीद थी उसमें मैं कह सकता हूँ कि सर्व समाज के लोग, इवन देन जिन लोगों को हम सोचते थे कि ये हमें वोट हो सकता पार्टी लाइन से हट कर ना करें, लेकिन पार्टी लाइन से हट करके मैं कह सकता हूँ कि यादव समाज के लोग ही बीजेपी को वोट कर रहे हैं, मैंने देखा है।
नहीं, लेकिन ब्रजेश जी, यहीं गांव में अगर आप देखें तो सांड से दुखी किसान, अपनी फसल से दुखी किसान, बेरोजगारी से दुखी युवा।
संकेत भाई, देखिए, लोकतंत्र में सबको बात कहने का हक है और कहीं न कहीं पार्टी के फॉलोवर्स भी होते हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी सर्व समाज को साथ लेकर के, आम जनता को साथ लेकर के अपनी बातें रखती है और जिस ढंग से लोगों का समर्थन मिल रहा है, मैं कह सकता हूं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की प्रचंड बहुमत की सरकार है।
लेकिन आप ये नहीं मानते हैं कि जो नाराजगी है जमीन पर वो बीजेपी के खिलाफ है?
बीजेपी के खिलाफ है ही नहीं, वो समाजवादी पार्टी के या विपक्षी दलों के फॉलोवर्स हैं। जैसे मान लीजिए, जैसे कोई जयंत के साथ है, कोई XYZ आम आदमी के साथ है, कोई नई पार्टी बना लिया, कोई समता पार्टी के साथ है, कोई JDU के साथ है, ये कैसे हो सकता है कि उसके माइंडसेट को मैं बदलूं? उसने प्रतिबद्धता के साथ पार्टी ज्वाइन किया है। जब वो पार्टी धीरे धीरे, हमारा विशाल परिवार है, जब बढ़ेगा, वो लोग आएंगे तो हमारी बात करेंगे।
आप ब्राह्मण समाज से ताल्लुक रखते हैं, आपकी जो पिछली पार्टी है उनका ये कहना है कि जैसे 2007 में हमने रिझाया था वैसे ही हम 2022 में भी ब्राह्मण हमारे साथ होगा।
वर्तमान समय में 100% ब्राह्मण समाज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ है और वो यही मानता है कि भारत की सांस्कृतिक विरासत को और उत्तर प्रदेश की संस्कृति को बीजेपी ही आगे।
अब तो अमित शाह जी ने भी कह दिया, वो कह रहे हैं कि आप मायावती को इग्नोर नहीं कर सकते, वो अच्छा परफॉर्म करेंगे।
बहन जी को मैं कहते रहा हूँ, बहन जी हमारी अच्छी लीडर है, देश की बड़ी नेता है, उनका सबका सब लोग सम्मान करते हैं।
और आपको लगता है, एक मेरा आखिरी सवाल, और आपको लगता है कि जो वो बोल रही हैं या जो आपके नेता का विश्लेषण है कि बीएसपी इतना खराब परफॉर्म नहीं करेगी, उससे आप भी सहमत हैं?
मेरा मानना है कि बहन जी बड़ी नेता हैं, उनका सब लोग सम्मान करते हैं और जरूर उनको कैसे इग्नोर कर सकते हैं आप इतनी बड़ी नेता को।
कॉन्टेस्ट आपके हिसाब से किन पार्टीज में है? सपा वर्सेस
भारतीय जनता पार्टी का किसी से भी मतलब आमने सामने की लड़ाई नहीं है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी क्लीन स्वीप पाएगी और पिछली बार की तरह सारे दल हाशिए पर रहेंगे।
ध्रुवीकरण की राजनीति, मेरा आखिरी सवाल है, ध्रुवीकरण की राजनीति करने पर फिर क्यों मजबूर होती है बीजेपी?
ध्रुवीकरण करता है?
आप देखिए, 80-20 का बयान किसने दिया? मुख्यमंत्री ने दिया।
80-20 को आप परिभाषित अपने हिसाब से आप कर रहे हैं। 80% वो लोग हैं जो बीजेपी को लाइक कर रहे हैं, जो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की बात कर रहे हैं, जो उत्तर प्रदेश के डेवलपमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं, और 20% विभिन्न दलों के मत मानने वाले।
लेकिन अब्बा जान, दुनिया टोपीधारी, ये सब केशव प्रसाद मौर्य, ये बयान किसी से छुपे नहीं है।
ये भी तो बयान नहीं छुपा किसी से, ये भी तो बयान किसी से नहीं छुपा है कि लोगों ने कहा कि हम जो है हिंदुओं से चुन चुन करके बदला लीजिए। ये भी तो वीडियो आपने देखा, ये देखा वीडियो आपने, उनसे आप पूछिए।
चलिए ठीक है, बहुत लोग नाराज हो रहे हैं, पर बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद विजय जी, थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू।
All right, so there Sanket finally managed to get that interview from the BJP leader, and I think there's been a problem with his mic there. But yes, so speaking on the issue of as the fourth phase of polling is underway in UP, and also the interesting position of Mayawati. And Sanket, you did ask about what Amit Shah said about Mayawati, about the fact that, you know, BSP can't be ruled out, and even the leader there making you know, very friendly noises regarding Mayawati.
Well, yes, by the way, for those who do not know, Brijesh Pathak was a very, very close aide of BSP chief Mayawati, from being a media coordinator to being, you know, in the close circle in the BSP, and he shifted to the Bharatiya Janata Party. He is a very, very prominent Brahmin face of the Yogi Adityanath government, the very same government that has come into fire for from members of the Brahmin community. You remember the BSP's entire campaign this time around is that the Brahmins are really upset. 12% of Uttar Pradesh, according to the BSP, are very upset because Yogi Adityanath government practices what they call is the domination of the Thakurs. Now that is how the politics of Uttar Pradesh works. Emotions. Brijesh Pathak is that face of the BJP to prove Mayawati otherwise. In fact, he says, and as you just heard in the interview, that we feel that the Yadavs are going to be with us, the Brahmins are going to be with us, even some members, and you have heard the Prime Minister saying that Muslim women are also going to be with us. Now, this formulation has worked for the BJP in the year 2017. How else did the BJP manage 39% plus of the vote share? Obviously, many people from, you know, who are considered the vote bank of other political parties, they decided to vote for the BJP. This time around, people like Brijesh Pathak feel that the same is going to happen. However, the assessment is that the voting percentage is not as high in the various phases. It will be interesting to see from here on whether it will exceed 2017 or not. But if you assess the first phase, second phase and the third phase, you will notice that there is a constant and consistent decline of about 2 to 3% in the vote share. Now, this decline, who does it benefit? Who does it upset? That, I think, is going to be the big Uttar Pradesh story from here on. The low voting percentage, the 2 to 3% drop, does this necessarily mean a vote against the incumbents? Or does this mean that some cadre-based vote is going to vote for respective parties and the BJP will lose out on the edge that they got in 2017? I think this is all subject matter of assessment from here on. But the one interesting thing that I want to tell you is, while there is anger on the ground against the BJP, one also has to be pragmatic enough to know that, you know, we are not dealing in binaries in this state. Number one, I can very convincingly, with great conviction, tell you that this is a no-wave election. Because when there are waves, you see a higher polling percentage. Because more people like to come and vote. You see opinion inclined in a particular direction. Low or relatively low voting percentage means that that factor is no more there. Second important point is that there is definitely anger against Yogi Adityanath on the ground in villages, in cities. But will that anger necessarily mean voting against the BJP? I think that's where the story lies in Uttar Pradesh in the first three phases and also this phase. The BJP is very confident that this Chunavi cocktail that they are going to present, which will have talk about Vikas also, showcasing of airport, expressway, which will have accusing Akhilesh Yadav of bad law and order also, which by the way is a message that has percolated right down to the villages in the Dehat regions of Uttar Pradesh. And number 3, that generous dose of Hindu-Muslim, which the BJP always does. So it's always like a cocktail of a number of things. The BJP's strategy is not a one-trick pony. They're doing a number of things on the ground. So that, as of this moment, is my humble opinion on the way UP elections are going. Of course, many more phases left, and these twists enter the caste factors, OBC, Brahmins, all these factors are going to come to play in these subsequent phases and elections.
All right, Sanket, interesting no-phase election. If I can just tell you what the voting percentage has been like till 9 a.m. this morning, it's been 9.1% voter turnout. And if we compare it to 2017, as Sanket was pointing out, then at 9 a.m. it was 10.3%. So already 1% difference there, at least till 9 a.m. Thanks so much, Sanket, for that. We'll slip into a short break and be back with more.